Hi everybody, welcome to the Steckline Report. I'm Larry Steckline. Nice to have you aboard today. We're going to talk about one of the most important reports we're going to have this spring, the first planting intentions report. And right along with it comes a quarterly stocks report that we sure like to look at. How much are we draining down the stocks of grain in this country? Because we have a lot of folks. I'm talking about big units that are talking adversely against agriculture because we're using so much of our product for other things than food. Food prices now are going up considerably. They blame all of that onto the farm product, which, you know, I have a very difficult time in figuring out how you can complain about a box of Post Toasties going up $1 when really there's only about a dime's worth of corn in there. But that's the way it is. They use the farm expense as their excuse for raising the food price much more than it should be. In any event, I'll get off of that soap wagon and tell you about the report that came out from USDA, and I think it's a good one for us on several fronts. We'll cover that as we go. First of all, since corn is the major issue, everybody's talking about, are we going to have enough corn this year, especially to feed the ethanol plants and to feed the nation? Well, let me tell you right off the bat that farmers are totally going to plant to the 5 major crops about 9 million more acres this year than last year. 9 million more acres. Where they find those acres is beyond me. At my farm, I can't find any more. I can only plant what I've got, which is everything I've got. But there must be some stuff out there that hasn't been planted, and definitely 9 million more acres of the 5 major crops will be planted this year than last year. Corn, it's a nice 92.18 million acres, according to the intentions that they gave to USDA on this report. Slightly above the trade expectations. And you say, boy, will that be enough to satisfy our needs? And I kind of think it will. We've got some people running around the country saying we need 93 to 93.5 million acres planted. But I'm sure they don't know any more than anybody else. It's kind of a guessing game totally. So we'll kind of let that lie. We think 92.18 is a nice amount of acres. If we can get it planted properly and we grow good crops on that number of acres, I can promise you we'll have a lot of corn around. Now, it's not enough to depress the market, in my opinion. My personal opinion, this kind of figure is going to keep the market where it is for a pretty good length of time. It probably won't go up a lot. I don't think it'll come down a lot either. Farmers told USDA they plan to plant 76.6 million acres of soybeans. That's below the average trade guess, but not much. At 58.02 million acres of wheat, we're in pretty good shape there too, although it's a little bit more than some had expected, a little bit bigger than the trade guess. We have a lot of things to take in consideration on wheat that's been planted. Example, in my part of the country, friends, half of the state of Kansas, half of the state of Oklahoma, half of the state of Texas at least, very dry conditions. I'm not talking about kind of dry. I'm talking about serious stuff. Some of this planted wheat is just barely up and some not up in some of those spots. So a lot of that wheat acreage could turn to something else and push up acreage, corn, soybeans, something like that. We'll have to wait and see. Cotton acres are pegged at 12.57 million acres. That's up about 15% from last year, but it's still well below what trade expectations were. That means the cotton folks in this part of the country, California, Kansas, and Oklahoma, and down into Arkansas, are going to see some nice cotton prices, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to vary much from this point on as well. Quarterly stocks report will quickly tell you that there wasn't a lot of bright news in there that shook anybody's thought process at all. We had plenty of corn stocks on hand. Well, let me say plenty compared to what people thought. Same thing with soybeans. Wheat was up a little more than we thought. That was just a little bit negative, but not enough to worry about. Good report, friends, and we'll see you on the next Steckline Report.